Hey brewers and beer lovers, welcome to my garage. So a few months ago we moved from Wisconsin to Idaho and life happened. So just starting to think about getting back into brewing. One of the first projects that I'm gonna have to deal with is rebuilding my, sorry about the planes, we're about a mile from a fairly busy airport, but anyway, one of the first projects that I'm gonna need to tackle is assembling my home brewery, because for the move, you can see my orange mash tun. That's a 5-gallon igloo cooler. I had to take the ball valve off of the outside of kettles and mash tuns. My other mash tuns right there. That's got to be reassembled as well. But like, you can already see part of the problem. Like, I have fermenters, mash tun. The kettle I use for my hot liquor tank is underneath the orange mash tun. Over here, that bin has like brew spoons, just my bottle tree, a bunch of random stuff, mash tun, kegging equipment. That little 2-gallon fermenter has a bunch of odds and ends in it. That red cooler up there, I'm gonna turn into a heated fermenter area. My plastic fermenters just fit in there, so I have a carboy heater that I'm gonna put in there, because I got some Kveik yeast from my old homebrew shop back in Wisconsin, and I want to make something tasty with that, so I got to be able to crank the temperature up. So that's the cooler's going to get used for that, and it's sitting on top of my beer fridge. So, and then behind me there's my grain mill, and then this wire rack actually has I have a couple containers of base malts over there. So like, one of the first projects I'm gonna have to tackle is just kind of organizing the garage in general, because it is a disaster in here. Like, that shelf with all the camping stuff on it, actually fairly well organized. That's the one thing in the garage that's fairly well organized. So doing that, and then just putting all the pieces of my home brewery back together. The kettles need, I have 2 kettles, one I use for the hot liquor tank, one for boil. They both need the ball valves put back on them. I got a bazooka screen for the kettle, so that's got to go on the inside. My immersion chiller froze last winter because I didn't completely drain it when I was done using it, and it popped the bottom. So I'm gonna be doing some soldering coming up, and what else? Oh, I have a small workbench kind of in front of me and that way. That is good. I'm gonna try to get everything off of it except for my burners and the kettle, and basically that's gonna be my brew stand, and then try to move some shelves around so that that is actually close to the door that's in front of me, and that way, because there's a little concrete pad and then gravel driveway in the house we're renting. So I want to get it over there where I can just move it out there quickly. So hate it when my brain locks up. But yeah, and then that being over there will also be closer to the hose hookup on the outside of the house, which will be nice. We moved from a much larger house into this house that's maybe half the square footage. And so one of the good things about that is like all of my brewing equipment is in the same space in the garage, versus I had my beer fridge was in my office. I had all my fermenters and grain and stuff in another room in the basement that was on the opposite end of the house from the garage where I actually brewed. And then in the garage was my brew bench and kettles and mash tun and all of that stuff. So hopefully it's going to work out well to have everything consolidated here in the garage, just to hopefully get everything working, or making everything a little more convenient, because I won't have to traipse back and forth through the house and stuff, just to be able to brew. So that'll be nice. But I gotta make time to do that. And yeah, since we moved, funny bone, not funny. Since we moved, I got a part-time job as a production assistant at Sawtooth Brewery here in Haley, Idaho, which they make good beer, which I'm drinking their Idaho IPA, which is really solid. Like, my taste buds have kind of adapted a little bit. Like, the first time I had it, I just thought it was super bitter. And I think one of the things I've learned while working there is just the importance temperature plays, especially with this beer. Because like when it's super cold, like right now, it's actually a little colder than I like it. So like that dank bitterness just comes right to the forward, and it's like really, really, I would say assertively bitter. I wouldn't necessarily call it aggressive bitter. Well, it's probably aggressive bitterness, because on the label it says 100 IBUs, which I'm assuming is calculated. I don't know that they actually have it analyzed, but like it's really quite bitter. And then like as the bitterness starts to fade away, when it's this cold at least, you start to get a little more sweetness from the malt, almost like some honey notes. And then as those start to go away, you start getting these really hints of tropical fruit flavor. And excuse me, those hints of tropical fruit in the finish when it's super cold, like that's actually where the flavor starts once it actually warms up. So like I am going to be probably raising the temperature on my fridge, because I usually have some of this on hand. But yeah, it's a super tasty beer. I prefer it warm, which I know, like I've talked to lots of people about the ideal temperature for drinking beer, and it really varies depending on the beer. But the colder the beer is, the more muted the flavors generally are. And so the fact that this beer continues to improve as it warms up, like, that's generally one of the signs of what I consider to be a good beer, is that it either stays as enjoyable or actually gets better as it warms up and sits in the glass. So, yeah, like if you're anywhere, Plains, what you gonna do? You're gonna drink beer, that's what you're gonna do. But a lot of breweries, like, I know there is, I think it was Coors, their marketing campaign for a while was they had the color change stuff on their cans and their labels, so you wanted to make sure it was blue so you drank it while it was really cold. And part of that is it mutes any of those kind of weird flavors that can happen with beer sometimes. But yeah, like, obviously I'm probably a little biased since I'm working at Sawtooth, but like I haven't had any of the beers there that were bad examples of what they were trying to be. They had some beers that were styles I don't particularly care for, but that's just personal taste. I did enough training, like I'm not BJCP certified, but I worked with a few BJCP judges and stuff, and I can acknowledge when a beer is good for what they're trying to do, even if it's not what I like. Like, that's a whole other discussion about beer. But I like every beer that I've had at Sawtooth has been good for the style that they're trying to sell it as. And like, they make a lot of beer too. Like, well, probably not a lot of beer. It's just coming from 5 or 10 gallons at a time to a brewery that has a 15-barrel brew house and then has 2 60-barrel fermenters, and a 60-barrel bright tank, multiple 15-barrel fermenters, and a 30-barrel fermenter, maybe 2 30-barrels. Anyway, it's a lot of beer in a week. Like, they keep those fermenters turning, and yeah, every beer I've had so far has been solid. So if you can get Sawtooth, I know they're in Idaho. They get some distribution into Montana, Utah, and Wyoming, I think. But primarily in Idaho, their stuff shows up in lots of places. But if you can get it, try it. Their Idaho is solid. Their Fall Summit Amber Ale, which, why don't more breweries make amber ales? That's what I want to know. Like, not a red IPA. No, like solid, delicious, chocolatey, fruity amber ale. Like, get after it. Like, it's good stuff. So, their Mountain Time Golden Ale is, for those of you back in Wisconsin, the Mountain Time Golden Ale is better than Spotted Cow, which in my opinion, doesn't take much, because Spotted Cow I never thought was awesome. Some people will disagree, but Mountain Time Golden Ale is the reason that golden ales are awesome. It's almost lager-like in a lot of characteristics, but it's got more esters and character from the ale yeast, but just really solid, easy drinking beer. What else do they have? Oh, my next video is probably going to be talking about their No Friends on a Fresh Hop Day, because it's probably, if not the best, one of the better fresh hop beers I've ever had. But we'll get into that in a different video. But yeah, like, the brewery's cool. The guys I work with are a lot of fun, and they make good beer. So if it's not homebrew that I'm drinking, it's probably their beers, because they have a good variety, and why go anywhere else? Okay, that's a lie. I regularly try other stuff, but I usually, like, the stuff from Sawtooth, I always have something in the beer fridge anyway, even if that's not all that's in there. Yeah, so 17 minutes. Let's wrap this up, Jake. Shut up for a little bit. Yeah, got some rebuilding the home brewery plans for videos coming up. I have to finish building out my, basically turning my beer fridge into an actual kegerator. I have room for 2 5-gallon kegs in there. So that is coming. I have to assemble a bunch of parts of both the liquid and gas side to get that rolling. So probably gonna have a video about that soon. And yeah, just hopefully gonna hit my stride and get these coming out a lot more frequently. So if you stuck around until now, I hope you have a good beer in your hand to keep you company, just in case you got bored with me talking. So I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be a brandy snifter. Maybe, I don't know. It was at the local thrift shop, and I like it because I'm 6'8", so I have big hands, and like, this is actually like a comfortable size versus some of the tulip glasses and stuff. Like, I feel like I'm holding a dainty little teacup or something, but this one is right around 22 ounces, give or take. Yeah, but I just like this shape for beer glasses. Check out your thrift stores. Sometimes they have awesome glassware for $1. Anyway, I said I was gonna shut up. Now I really am gonna shut up, but drink good beer, brew up an adventure. See you soon.